Well, folks, I thought it would be interesting to make a wee video just to show you what goes into a typical online service. We're in a kind of rhythm and routine now of preparing, and I wanted to just share that with you so that you can see behind the scenes of what goes on. So it's Tuesday today. I spent yesterday kind of getting my material together, getting organised, writing my sermon and my prayer, choosing my hymns. So that was yesterday. That was Monday. Taken up with that prep. Today, I've had some meetings this morning, and this afternoon, I've been over in the church filming. Got that down to a fine tee now. I can probably do the filming within about an hour. I thought you might be interested to see the kit that I use to do the recording. Everybody's got to kind of try and find a way of working that they can live with and that's easily manageable. What I'm doing here, I'm using this little red box. This is a digital interface that allows me to plug into the computer, and it will take sound into the computer and allow me to process it. So actually some of the recordings that we do as a family, we use this little red box for. Those are radio mics from the church, so one of them's plugged in, the other one is attached to me, and I speak into the microphone as usual on a Sunday. Use a laptop. I wish I could say that I was improvising everything that I do, but I'm clearly not. But the problem is that the little webcam on the laptop isn't really great quality. I see you're getting a nice reflection of me in the shiny or not so shiny screen. But with some remarkable ingenuity, we've come up with Plan B. I've made these things. Now, what are these? Well, I'm going to show you. I'm just going to switch off for a second and switch back on again. We put these things onto the screen. They're padded so they don't do any damage. And then I am able to slip my phone in there. And I make sure that the camera is just where the webcam was. So that is what is doing the recording. So we're recording onto the phone rather than onto the webcam. And my notes can kind of scroll up the screen as we go. So we've kind of got that down to a fine art, but as you'll appreciate, it's quite a lot of gubbins. And I know some folk are maybe out in the hoof and doing things, probably just recording straight into their cameras. Over the last 6 months, I think Ross and I have sort of perfected this way of doing things, which makes sure you get two things. You get a really good image and you get some really good sound. And that certainly has been fed back to me. People are appreciating that what we're doing on a Sunday is it's of good quality, and I think that helps folk when you're not able to be in church. So there you go. So that's a little look behind the scenes of how the magic happens. And now we're at a stage where it's the processing, the video editing. So I'm going to move the information that's on my camera, on my phone rather, onto the computer and start doing some video editing. So this is me beginning the video editing. I'm using a package called Movie Studio 17 Platinum. The first thing I've done is to just download my video files for today. So there's the video file that I've worked on today, and I'm just going to drop that in there, and that's the video file in there. Now, I wish it was as simple as just turning that into a file that we could use on the internet. The problem is, of course, that in the middle of this we need hymn words, we need to include readings and prayers if we've got folk involved in that. I need to source some images for the background and stitch all of this together. And this is what takes quite a lot of time. So the editing process can take me probably more than between half a day and a day by the time I get all this stuff in and work on it. So what I got to do now is I've got to go away, source suitable images for the sermon, get the hymn words and such like done, and then import these into the editing package. So that's my next step. So at the moment I'm working on a PowerPoint. I've got to do two PowerPoints really, one for the online service and one for the live service. They're largely the same, but you do need to change the formatting a wee bit. And part of what I do is go on the internet and find beautiful images like this that I can use in the service. Discovered a really good website that gives high quality, royalty free images like this one So part of the work I'm doing just now is trying to find those images and putting them into the PowerPoint. So that's me worked on the PowerPoint for Sunday, and got all my images that I want for the service. And what I need to do now is to turn those into pictures that I can drop in to the actual movie itself for Sunday. So that's what I'm going to do next. And one of the wee challenges of doing a recorded service and now doing a live service as well is that sometimes I choose hymns for the live service, but then I haven't got recordings of them for the virtual service. So thank goodness for YouTube. I'm going into YouTube and sourcing hymns that we don't have recordings of. So that's what I've been doing the last few minutes. I've just been going through YouTube looking for a good version of I Heard the Voice of Jesus Say, and I've managed to find a really nice one, so we'll drop that into the service along with the other videos. So I'm just going to give you a wee example of what I try to do on a Sunday just to make things good and keep people engaged. So I've got this is the little bit of the screen that's got all the images that I've downloaded. So this one I'm going to move down into the timeline and plonk it just about there. And what you're able to do is you're able to lengthen it, and you're also able to create a fade in and a fade out. So that's roughly the right position. So hopefully it should tie in with what I'm seeing on the screen here.
The Lord is my shepherd.
So there we go.
I shall not be in want. He makes me lie down in green pastures. He leads me beside quiet waters.
There you go. So that's that little image there with the fade in
Just wants to stop
and
right there.
the fade out. So every time you see an image in the screen, that's just a little piece of the jigsaw puzzle we've got to get in place to get it looking good. Well, as you can see by that frame, I'm right at the end now. So we've managed to get everything in that we can do today. I'm waiting on the readings that's coming from Meg, and I'm waiting for the prayer that's coming from Caroline, and we'll slot those in. And once they're there, we can render the file and get it ready for uploading to the internet. Well, it's Thursday morning now, and I'm just putting the finishing touches to the video. Meg and Caroline have sent me their reading and their prayer, and I'm also going to include some paintings that the Kirk Club have done, so I'm putting them into a wee montage, and of course that means putting some music alongside it. I also took some videos of some local sheep this week, so I've incorporated those into the first section of the service as well, over Meg's reading of the Lord's Prayer. So stitching all of that together, and then hopefully before long I'll be able to mash it all into what's called the render, get that all into one file, and then there's a bit more jiggery pokery before we're done, but we're almost there now. So this is the video rendering. It's about halfway through. It is an enormous file. It's about 3 gigabytes. So that's too big really to be uploaded to YouTube, but we have a clever way around that, which I'll show you in a moment. So the main file is now rendered, and I'm using this particular program here called Handbrake, which was recommended to me by my techie son. And Handbrake is very clever at shrinking the sizes of great big files and making them much smaller. So Handbrake's compressing the file from about 3 gigabytes down to about 300. So it's making it about a tenth of its size. Still got a long way to go here, so I'm going to go and get a bite of lunch, and we'll see you afterwards. So I had a wee think through everything that goes into preparing a Sunday service, and this is, I guess, an outline of what we need to do. Starts where ministers always start with reading, thinking, writing and praying, getting your material together that you hope will help your people and lead them and encourage them. Choosing appropriate hymns, this is all very normal so far, this is what we do. And then I need to outsource the readings and the intercessions. We've got volunteers who are doing both. They need to record that stuff at home and send that into me for inclusion in the service. And I've put a wee note here, 3A, canvas photos and videos from folks. So if I'm getting the young people to send in pictures or drawings or whatever, emails go out and I wait for those to come back to me for incorporation. Choose additional music and images. Sometimes I've got other music going on in the online service. I use images a lot in the sermon and elsewhere. So trying to source good quality images, the right images can take some time, but I think it's worth it. Preparing the PowerPoints. I make a PowerPoint with all the images in. Then I send that to the folder where I build up the service, the online service. But I also need a PowerPoint for the actual Sunday service too, and they can be quite different. So there's a fair bit of work in that. Then I have to video edit all of the above, which is a lot of work as part of, I would say, 2/3 of a day, putting all of that stuff together. You've got to render it, which ends up with a file of about 3 gigabytes. You've got to compress it, takes it down to 300 megabytes. You've then got to upload to YouTube, which can take quite a long time. Write blurb and source kids links. So I always try and include some links for the kids, some activities, stories, songs with the Sunday service, because we're not having Sunday school at the moment. So again, a bit of research goes into that. Those Sunday school are helping with that now, which is great. And I always write a wee bit of blurb that I can just paste straight into Facebook or YouTube or into the emails that I send out to the congregation. So yeah, I've got to send them that link, which goes on Facebook, the web page, and email to all our members. That's why I'm keen to get emails so I can contact people directly. As well as that, I've got to rip the audio file, or rip an audio file from the video. So with that audio, I can upload it to the phone service so people can just ring in their landline and hear. But I also upload it to a program called Anchor, and Anchor sends it to iTunes and to Spotify. So that's another way of getting the service out there. And then lastly, 15, we start all over again. So that hopefully gives you a wee indication of what goes into your average Sunday service. So it's a lot of work, but I think it's worthwhile, and it's been great this week in particular. I've had a lot of nice feedback from people saying how much they're appreciating staying in contact with the church in this way. So folks, thanks for watching. I hope that's been a little insight into where my time is going these days. All the best for now. Bye bye.